Honor, gratitude, respect, friends. Good morning. This video is a response of sorts to an excellent channel, HVAC Budget 8600. He does incredible deep dives into multi-tools from across the industry, stuff I've never even heard of. He does some mods, has some really cool ideas on the tool generally, and then gets into a lot of specifics into various companies. So I'll link him in the background or in the comments. In the background, I thought he'd get a kick out of this. This is Gandalf the Grey riding Gwai here. Alright, so today I'm going to be getting into some of my multi-tools. These are just going to be a bunch of my Leathermans, and in no particular order. So this one is the Fuse. I'm not sure, the weights or when these were first released. You can look that up on Leatherman's website. I've had this one for quite a while. It's very worn in. But what I really like about this is that it has no blade or saw. So let's see. Screwdriver, file, screwdriver, little scissors, and bottle opener. Cutters are obviously not replaceable, but this thing is awesome because I just take it on a plane, no worries. I generally, even at this point, will, once I start going through security, will like specifically say, hey, the Leatherman multi-tool is in the front pouch, it has no blade on it, just to get it out of the way, because otherwise they'll, they still pitch a fit. Next up is the Juice. This thing is awesome. I believe it's discontinued. It basically has a really nice slip joint walk and talk snap to all the tools. It's got a whole bunch of, what's this, like kind of like a Warncliffe sheep's foot. All scissor, really nice scissors. These are probably some of the best scissors on Swiss Army, Leatherman, Gerber, whatever. These are really cool. It came in a bunch of different scale colors. This is the only one I have. I was gifted this as a Christmas present a few years back from a friend who has gone to her reward. But yeah, these are really cool. Kind of chonky, but awesome. It would be cool if they sold the patent to another company so that we could buy these again, or at least release them like, once a year or something. Because I know a bunch of us would buy more of them. This one I've had for probably the longest. It's the Rev. It's a piece of crap. It's basically really thin, sharp, bent metal. I'm not going to get into all the tools of these. I didn't really know anything when I started to buy these, and I think must have gotten it at like maybe Walmart or something. Had a pocket clip. A lot of the blade is accessible closed, so I figured I'd get it. But yeah, it just, when you're using the pliers, this is sharp, it's, yeah, I don't really, I don't like it. Next up is the Blast. So this is basically the fuse, but the Blast has a saw and a knife, but essentially the same thing. Got the kind of plastic on the outside grip. Cool one. This is the Charge Titanium. I initially got this because I really liked the Wave, and I had the Wave, and I was looking around trying to find the Charge with the G10, but there again, they stopped making those. There are people who do make aftermarket scales on Etsy, so if you come across one of these, you could swap out the scales for some custom G10 scales, which I think was like the guy I was looking at was like $60, so easily doable. Obviously, the well-loved S30V blade. I really like the holes on blades. I think that the arc post on the blade is, I don't really like it. So this is a pretty cool one. I've used this a bit doing carpentry and such, handyman stuff. Very comfortable. If you were looking at the Wave and trying to decide between the two, I would go for the Charge. It's a little bit more grippy. I know it's a little bit more expensive, but there are plenty of places like eBay or whatever you can find these used. Any of the Facebook groups, whatever. Removable cutters. Awesome. All right, the King, the Surge. So this pocket clip I purchased off Amazon. I'm not sure about linking to it. Maybe I will. But I had one that I bought, I think from Leatherman, and it wobbled side to side. I have another buddy who put the 3M tape version on his. I knew that, I don't know, I like to be able to remove it. But this thing is solid. I don't know that this brand gets a lot of traction for whatever reason, but they make a great product. It does not move. This is my favorite Leatherman, my favorite multi-tool. I use this all the time for doing, I just throw it in my tool bags. It's awesome. It's still the king. Yeah, it'd be cool if they offered a few different, maybe little options. Maybe upgraded the steel on the blade just so that the edge would last a little bit longer. But other than that, this thing is it's the king. It's badass. It's huge. I think it's 12 ounces maybe? 8 to 12 ounces, somewhere in there. So it is heavy. But if you're not carrying anything else in your pockets, like knife-wise, I think it's doable, especially if you're wearing jeans and a belt. Great tool. And finally, this is the Leatherman Mutt, and I'm laughing because I had an engineer buddy who we made pews together, and he now lives in Florida. He always carried this with him, obviously because the AR variant of the pews we were making really melded well with the use of this. I modified this a bit, as you can tell. So at this point in 2024, Leatherman does not sell theirs with the milled titanium pocket clip anymore. They use, I don't know, it seems like aluminum pocket clip. I could be wrong. But in any event, I just took it off, and then I think I bought this on eBay. Maybe it was pretty expensive, pretty ridiculous, but just another cost-cutting measure Leatherman implemented some years ago. Does it make a difference? I don't know. For the price of this thing, I think the price justifies using a titanium clip, but obviously I don't see the budget losses and such. So a couple things I did was I tried to rub out with a Dremel some of the sharp edges inside. It kind of worked. I think there are some inserts you can get. But the big thing I did was I removed the bronze scraper, and then I put in this Gerber strong arm screwdriver. It took a little bit of effort to make this notch seat. I think I had to Dremel this side down so it was flat, because I believe as it comes originally, the whole back of this is rounded. So you got to kind of be careful with that. And then there is no lock spring, so it's kind of just, it's not necessarily loose, but I don't know, but I like having a screwdriver on this. The strong arm was pretty cheap. I think it was under 20 bucks, maybe 25 bucks. So I thought it was worth it. I think the bronze scraper is kind of ridiculous. I would not be scraping a bolt or any of the related parts using this. I feel like you'd get carpal tunnel because this is a heavy, chunky boy. Again, we're looking at 12 ounces or something. But its intended purpose, obviously, is to perform maintenance on those outstanding creations by Eugene Stoner. So I put that on there. And then also I had to Dremel off this whole, so this cover was on this side too, so that all had to be Dremeled off, and I just buffed it, and it's a little jagged, a little ugly, but it's not sharp by any means. It's just not perfect because I'm not a machinist and I was a Dremel cowboy. But as you can see, closing it, there is some snap to it. But this thing is pretty awesome. It looks cool. Yeah, I really like it. I find a lot of actual use, even though this was specifically used for pew-pews. I find a lot of use for it doing carpentry. And it basically has surge pliers. It's the same thing, except these holes here are threaded. I believe you can thread in a steel cleaning rod into them. Removable cutters. Looks like the same plier head. And yeah, I think that's all I did. Again, I think it would be cool if this was at least an S30V, because while I am kind of sort of a knife snob and a steel snob, yeah, at the end of the day, for most of us, there really isn't going to be a lot of difference. I think the Magna Cut on the Arc was ridiculous, but if they sell out because of it, then bully for them. But the reality is that something like an S30V and higher, the edge will empirically last longer than something like a 440. It just will. The guy who invented Magna Cut has said, though, on many occasions, it's the edge geometry, the heat treat, and the type of steel last that determines how long a sharpened edge will continue. So, yeah, it kind of matters. I don't know, the 440 or whatever they use for this, it is a little soft. It does dull quick, which then means, yes, it does sharpen quickly. I don't know. I don't see why it's such a big deal to do something like S30V or S45 at least. I mean, that's pretty basic. Just please don't use 154 CM. If you know, you know. Alright, so this video is getting kind of long. Let's do a parting shot of all of these. I really like the Leatherman. I'll do another video on the Gerber and a few other multi-tools I have at some point. The quality of Leatherman is still outstanding. Yes, they're living on their brand name at this point. They're not really innovating. You know, notwithstanding the arc, they're still kind of just treading water, and they're probably going to get blown out at some point by the Chinese competition, but time will tell, and until then, we just wait and see. Have a great day.